Hey guys, welcome back to my fourth week and final week of my powerlifting diaries. Just want to, do a quick wrap up of this final week, my training, how I felt, and pretty much where we're going to go from here. So the week started off really strong with some deadlifts, and I've been able to hit pretty much all the numbers that's been prescribed to me. So how the program sort of worked is that I get sort of prescribe these, like the exercises stay the same, but these sets and reps as the week progresses and they change. So what that means is that the volume is going down, but the weight is going up. So I'm lifting heavier, but pretty much less reps, so to speak. And I guess that's sort of been formulated intelligently so that I don't overtrain and I don't burn myself out, so to speak. So that's pretty much what my powerlifting coach explained, the reason why he implemented it. And I guess it's just a technique and intervention that a lot of people will introduce for athletes so that they don't pretty much plateau or they pretty much peak when they need to peak. In terms of like athletic performance, it's like a really well-known thing to structure your training in such a way where the duration, the volume reduces, and the intensity, the weight increases as the training camp goes on. And we did pretty much something similar when I was doing kickboxing as well, and in building up to the fight, the training used to be really long and arduous and also intensive at the same time as well. But when we got closer to the fights, the duration would reduce to quite a substantial amount, whereas instead of training 3 hours, 4 hours a day, you could only train maybe 45 minutes to an hour, but it's short and it's intense. And it's definitely a lot more enjoyable because it's not stretched over 3 or 4 hours. It's just short and intense, and I would much prefer that. And I think that's why the sport of powerlifting would fit in with, my training and my availability for time so much more. So, at the moment, I'm not using any sort of assistance in my lifting. So what that means is I'm not using any knee straps. I'm not using any wrist straps. I'm not using any of the weightlifting belt that you pretty much see a lot of weightlifters and powerlifters wear to help brace themselves. So I'm not using any of those lifting assistants. And I think the terminology is raw. I believe that's what they call. So I'm not using any of that at the moment. Pretty much just my body weight, myself, and that's all I'm using to lift. And something I found out really interesting as well is that in powerlifting, they always not obviously because I didn't know this before, but they had these people wear these powerlifting suits. So like these sort of the suits that they wear, and that helps them to lift a larger amount of weights just because how it works. You can get like the thin ones, and as you get the thicker ones, it's more supported and you're able to lift more weights. So it's crazy, like all these things I'm learning about powerlifting right now, which I didn't really know, that like such something as wearing like an attire can really affect the strength and how much you can lift. Which is crazy. I've really felt the benefits of all the auxiliary stuff that we've been doing. For example, I'm doing the farmer's carry. So pretty much as how it sounds is that you pretty much carry 2 really heavy dumbbells or kettlebells and you just walk. Just imagine you're like a farmer in Vietnam and you're just carrying your crop, your harvest, and you're building up some grip strength. So I felt that that's really helped me pretty much with my deadlift, just because my grip strength, I don't know if it's not the best or if it's okay, but I definitely felt like a big improvement on my grip strength with the deadlifts as the week progressed on, and I just could grab things with just a lot more force and conviction, and it wouldn't pretty much let go as easy. So with all these other auxiliary exercises that I'm doing in this training program has really helped me. And other stuff like, for example, in the bench, because you think all you're doing is doing the pushing motion, but it's also just as important to build up like pretty much the strength of your upper back, because that's really important as well, to make sure that everything is working once again in unison, and then you got like maximal drive and power, because it's a powerlifting sport. So I hit pretty much what I would like to think a milestone in my journey so far. As you know, for my squats, my initial goal was to always do 140 kilos, which is like 3 plates a side, for 6 reps. So that was my goal pretty much for my squats since I sort of started weightlifting. And this week, one of the sets that I had to do was pretty much 140 kilos for 2 reps, which was the prescribed reps or more, if I can do it with good technique. And I feel like my technique has come a long way already in such a short amount of time. Like I said in the previous video, like when I'm doing deadlift and when I'm doing squats now, like I don't feel like the strain in my lower back and the tightness that I used to feel. Like I used to feel like a lot of load and a lot of pressure was on my lower back, and I just thought obviously that was normal, but then when I was assessed, it's not very normal at all. It's supposed to be more evenly distributed throughout your whole back and your body. So the squats was 140 kilos and I was supposed to go for 2 reps, and my ultimate goal is 6 reps, and I was able to go 140 kilos for 4 reps yesterday. So I'm super wrapped about that. I'm like pretty much 2 reps away from my ultimate goal, and it just feels like if I wanted to, I can achieve that pretty quickly. But once again, the thing for me is I don't want to get ahead of myself. I don't want to be cocky, have a big head or anything like that, because this for me is for long term. I'm thinking about the long game, and injuries can really set a person back. And I've had my fair share of injuries throughout soccer and kickboxing and boxing. So I know now to not be irresponsible with my training and not to get ahead of myself, because a lot of people can do that. You can get really excited and then want to get ahead of yourself and then do all these extra crazy additional things, get injured, then you have a setback, and that can really affect you in terms of your training progress and also mentally as well. So you know what? I'm celebrating and I'm very happy. I'm very glad that I got 140 kilos for 4 reps, being 2 reps shy of my ultimate goal. Yeah, I'll probably do a video of the day when I actually hit my goal of 140 kilo for 6 reps. I think it'll be a momentous day once I do that. And it's just, for me, in my mind, is that now with this structured training program and working with a coach, I'm actually putting in the work and the infrastructure to get me closer to my goal. Whereas once upon a time, these goals were pretty much just a dream without no action plan in place. And that goes for a lot of things as well. So unless you're willing to put in like the effort, the planning, the time, and seek out the expertise and the people to make that happen, if you're unable to do it yourself, then that's all it'll ever be, just a dream, right? So yeah, I'm super stoked about that. It's pretty much a milestone for me. And I could see just the light at the end of the tunnel, just like, yeah, so close. And it's a good reflection for me in terms of what conscious effort can really bring upon you and the results. to actually put conscious effort and intention towards something, you start to move towards it. And I couldn't be happier with like the 4 weeks done, which is my first block. So what happens after this? So after the 4 week block, it's pretty much a week of rest or deload. So how I pretty much got explained that is it's pretty much a chance for the nervous system and for the body to rest, because in leading up to it, not that I have a lot of expertise in the area, but your nervous system is under a lot of stress, especially with the more heavier lifting. So how it works, it's an inverse relationship. So when you're lifting pretty much more reps with lighter weight, you're working more on the muscular system and also muscular fatigue and endurance. But when you're lifting heavier weights with less reps, obviously, you're working more on your nervous system, particularly your central nervous system. So that has to fire a lot more strongly, a lot more harder. And like anything, like a muscle, your central nervous system can be fatigued as well. So you need to let that rest also. So that's really important for the week of deload, to be able to let your body rest and your nervous system to rest like that. It's crazy because in the past, when I've sort of been training on my own, weightlifting, for the last year and a bit or so, I've really never given my body that purposeful break. And the thing that I'm learning now is that it's a very, very important thing to implement, like a deload or like a conscious rest week, so that you don't get injured, and also secondly, your progress does not plateau. And what I'm learning and what I'm hearing is that powerlifting athletes change up their program every 4 weeks, whereas I was changing up my program every 8, probably more like 12 weeks. So 3 months I would change up my program, and by then I probably have adapted to the exercise well over than what it's due. So I probably should have changed it a lot sooner. So yeah, what I'm learning is, powerlifting athletes and elite athletes have to change up the programs every 4 weeks. And I'm hearing some even every 2 weeks they're changing up the program, which is like crazy. And obviously you have to introduce that shock factor, if you want to call it that, or that new stimulus for your body to continuously be able to want to adapt and grow. And if you keep doing the same thing, you'll keep getting the same results, which makes sense in theory. But then, when you're actually practicing it, it's a lot more powerful than what I could appreciate before. So that's what I'm doing. After this, well, I'm done now. My last session was yesterday, and now it's just a week of break. I can probably do some light bodybuilding exercise, and I think I might do that and go back to pretty much my training how it was before. It was like sort of bodybuilding, not really for strength, so to speak. And just because I'm on pretty much a good momentum at the moment with my training, and to sit back and absolutely do nothing for a week, I just feel like it doesn't feel right. So I still want to do something, and I've just emailed my coach and just to see and clarify, what can I do and what can't I do in this deload week. Like, does that mean, do I lift pretty much the weights that I was lifting before, but maybe at 60% or like a certain percentage? I don't know. So I'm waiting to hear back. So hopefully I'll hear back by, tomorrow or Tuesday the latest, so that I know in terms of what I can do, because the last thing I'd want to do is sit on my butt, I think, because I'm feeling good. I'm making some good progress. I've got my consistency. I've got my training days in place, and even, I want to continue that and even do something on those days as well. So yeah, moving forward, I also, now that I've got like you know, my proper video and camera setup. I want to do some training footage. So if you're keen for that, let me know, because I think it will also be very beneficial for myself and for you guys to see as well, in terms of, you know, just footage of me in the gym. And this is just not all talk and hypothetical, that I am actually doing powerlifting. I am lifting, and I'm not just a guy behind the camera on YouTube just, I don't know, making up some story. Does anyone do that? I don't even know. But yeah, I want to include some training footage, and this is all new to me right now. I'm really trying to figure out this whole camera thing, this whole video editing thing. But for me, it's just pretty much getting the content out there, you know, voicing and also expressing and reviewing how I'm feeling. And just, it's a whole journey for me. So thank you so much for joining me on this journey of learning with camera, with YouTube, with powerlifting, with understanding my body better, and with making moderations and tweaks as I go along to make sure that I'm getting the most out of my training, my recovery, pretty much everything. So thank you for watching Behind the Lens. I really appreciate you guys. So you know what, I want to give back, and this is my opportunity to be able to give back and to share in my journey with everyone that's watching, with how everything's going, how I'm feeling. So I'll have a week break, and may or may not do a video within that week to see how I'm feeling and all that. Stay tuned for the next video. Before I finish this one, I'm gonna weigh myself, so you guys know what I'm weighing right now. So let's go do that. Alright, so as you can see, I'm 72.1 kilos. When I started, I was 70.5 to 71 kilos. So I have gained a bit of weight. Am I too stressed about it? Not really. I'm neither happy about it or anything like that. I'm neutral. It just means that I'm obviously getting stronger. I don't know, I'm building more muscle, who knows? So that's the main thing for me right now, is that I'm getting stronger. And until I get overly fat or obese, which I don't know will ever happen, then I'll start to be concerned. But now it's just a little weight gain, getting stronger. That's all good. I'm happy with that. I'm still staying relatively lean still, so I'm not overly stressed about it. So yeah, I'll take it, you know, page by page, day by day, as my journey goes on. I thank you guys again for joining me and watching this video, and I'll catch you on the next one.